Right Center. You know what I mean? So we here at the Right Center, y'all. And just get everybody acclimated to the new digs. You know what I'm saying? So if you're watching us live on YouTube or if you're watching us live on IG, it's a new visual, landscape for you to take a look at, man. You know what I'm saying? Kind of dope. It's kind of dope. So, we are here today. I'd like to welcome you guys to another episode of the TCK Web3 News Roundtable. We at the Right Center, so the setup is a little bit different. So we're operating out of here as far as the Atlanta Blockchain Center temporarily until we find a new location. But this location is pretty lit. So shout out to all of the people and the individuals here at the Russell Center. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta ask my guy, Just Cheeze, how he doing? How was his weekend? And what do you think about the new digs, man? The new spot at the Russell Center, man. How you feeling?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Just Cheeze, Joe Lewis. I'm feeling great about this space, man. I love the Russell Center. It's a dope vibe. I've been coming here. I came here. My first time here was early last year, I believe. Yeah, around early last year, probably around the same time. No, actually, no. I've been to the Russell Center when it was under construction for the very first time.
Oh, word? Okay.
And I was just coming through and learning about the space. And then I came back early last year. RC took me on a tour around the space.
Shout out to RC.
Yeah, shout out to RC Falls. And then mentioned, upstairs there's a lot of great offices that, or even spaces where people can utilize them for presentations or photo shoots. There's a podcast space here. There's, offices here. Like T.Gold said, this is our new home, right? And overall, it's a dope vibe. We get to come here every day and, lock in, but also be around other people. That's a key difference from what was going on at our previous space, right? We had a lot of us were builders, but the foot traffic around the ecosystem wasn't as much as it is here.
That's right.
Looking forward to engaging with this community here, cross-pollinate, see what we can build.
Nah, Cheese, that was a great assessment of where we at. And, in comparison to where we were, I really like this spot. Like you said, the foot traffic is more businesses here, there's more offices here. So we definitely had some people come through that wasn't part of the ABC community, but now they are, So one of the ladies here, her first time attending our Off the Chain Thursdays event, man, she got $100 in USDC. So shout out to Stand with Crypto, man. Stand with Crypto, they came through and they be holding us down, man. They be holding us down. So major shout out to them. And major shout out to Ant Mathis. He's the president of the Georgia chapter of Stand with Crypto. Shout out to the vice president. That's Tia Williams, aka NFTia, aka the former co-host of the TCK podcast, but she's always welcome to pop up anytime to give us her thoughts, her ideas, what's going on in this space, man. So shout out to NFTia. Shout out to my guy Just Cheeze. Shout out to our guy Dre from Urban Blockchain. He actually be coming through, man, and helping me hold down the news, so it's good. We've been able to lock that in over the past few weeks. I like how that's flowing. Marlon, he set off the ETH Global event, the happy hour event that we had. So that was dope. Shout out to ETH Global. That was our very first event. We had about, I think Tia said over like 70 people sign up for it. So yeah, man, we doing our thing, man. I'm proud of the ABC community. I'm glad that, people was able to come through during this migration period. And yeah, even though It's downtown, so it's a little bit, more difficult during rush hour traffic. It's a little bit more crazier getting here, but regardless of what, man, it's worth it when you do finally do get here. Word up. So, outside of that, how was your
How
week?
was your weekend?
Man, my weekend was straight, man. I got a lot of things done. I got a lot of things in order, gearing up for this World Cup, cooking up a lot of designs, We got a lot on our plate. We got 404 Day coming, so we're gearing up for 404 Day. And we went to a AI World Cup ready event, so that was pretty dope. Shout out to Created. They held that down at the Interlock, so we were there on Friday, and we met another individual who does 3D printing, so that was dope. And the whole thing was just laying out a roadmap and gearing up for the World Cup, so how we can prepare and how we can, just basically have enough merchandise, because obviously you see these, if you're watching us, you see these 3D printed items here. We got the Lionel Messi jersey in the frame. We got the Cristiano Ronaldo in the frame. You know what I'm saying? We got the Lionel Messi bust. And we got a couple of keychains, the World Cup keychains. Obviously, we got our mint and marquee custom 3D printed business sign. You know what I'm saying? So we stay cooking. And on to Cheese's left side, he has a Bitcoin gnome, a Bitcoin sign, and Nefertiti. Shout out to Queen Nefertiti, man. That was like one of the first African pharaohs I learned about. You know what I'm saying? Or queens, I should say. So shout out to Queen Nefertiti. I actually had her image when I had my high top back in the days when people used to put, different characters in the back of their head. You know what I'm saying? I had like the Ninja Turtles, carved in the back of the head. I had Nefertiti, I had the Nike sign, I had the Adidas sign. So yeah, I always been a very creative kid, man. Just having these different designs in the back of my head. So hence, I'm a graphic designer, graffiti artist. That's why we got these 3D printed items here that we have been cooking up. So we are gearing up for the World Cup, as you can see. Hopefully you are too. All right. So yeah, man, weekend was dope. And we gotta throw our homegirl Blue, representing Blue Water, up on the stage to see how she's doing, because she is the new co-host of the TCK Web3 News Roundtable, and this is still International Women's Month. All right, so we got to shout out all of the ladies who are part of the Web3 community. I still need a term for y'all because I want to cook up a dope shirt. Yeah, because we already got the blockchain boys on lock. Those are going. You're looking forward to being Web3 Wavy. Go to iGetsBusy.com and get you some Web3 Wavy merch. Blue, how you doing? How was your weekend? What's going on? I'm going to have her come up on stage so she can share her thoughts. Sent her a request. But until then, once she get on stage, man, I just want to tell y'all, man, Atlanta Blockchain Center is a very special place. And the amount of people that have, built things, it's phenomenal just to see the progress and the evolution of everybody who has built something here at ABC. So I got Blue for the co-host. All right. It looked like they giving us some technical difficulties, man. I don't know why we get technical difficulties. So Blue, I requested you. I got you the co-host. And whenever you free, give a shout out. All right, check this out. Twitter, X, you need to get your act together. For some reason, Blue has not been able to get up, and she's just been rugged. See that? She's just been rugged. So I know it ain't me. So we will wait for Blue to get back up on stage. But I will highlight some of the articles that we're going to go through today. All right? One story in particular, I have to highlight it again because we talked about it on Thursday, because this was big news. All right. So the SEC and the CFTC, they finally have some classification on certain cryptocurrencies 17 to be exact. So we're going to go through those. All right. Also, the CFTC set up a FAQ detailing how crypto firms can use digital assets as derivatives collateral. Thought that was pretty dope. Also, we're going to talk about crypto firms slashing jobs as AI becomes the go-to explanation on why they slashing all of these jobs. All right, so it's kind of obvious. Also, we're going to talk about the World Gold Council. I never even heard of them, but heard of them now because guess what? They're trying to tokenize their gold. So they're challenging Tether and Paxos with new tokenized gold framework. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Also, shout out to the Doodles, man. Chairman of the Doodles, Tad Smith, is set to acquire the NFT platform Candy Digital. All right, I got some of my very first DC Comics NFTs on that platform. Shout out to Candy Digital. All right, so it's unfortunate, man. Another NFT platform bites the dust. VV still smoking shit. And one of the last stories we will talk about, this is hilarious. Afro Man. I'm sure you guys probably saw it. I never thought in the year 2026, Afro Man will be front page news, but he's been everywhere with this victory because they ran up into his house. The police raided his house in Ohio. They didn't find anything. They took some of his money. He took about $400. He had some lemon pound cake on the table that one of the officers, I guess he ate some of it. He made a song. He actually made a whole album out of this in videos. And he made videos from the surveillance footage. But you know how crypto degens do. Somebody created a Fro token. That's right. A Fro token was created when Afro Man became victorious, okay? So the city, I forgot the name of the city that was suing him, but it's a city in Ohio. They was trying to sue him for $4 million. And guess what? Jury said, nope, we don't believe you. You need more people. They was out there crying and everything. So that was funny. So that was a win. That was a big win for freedom of speech. All right. So now what we're going to talk about to set it off, like I said, we did speak on this on Thursday. All right. We're going to talk about the Securities and Exchange Commission. All right. And the CFTC. We are going to talk about the 17 cryptocurrencies that are not securities. These are labeled digital commodities. All right. So we're going to go through this while Blue gets back up on the stage because I think she got rugged. I'm pretty sure she did because she was up and she couldn't speak. So let's talk about it, y'all. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and the CFTC, they have issued a landmark joint rule creating a clear classification framework for digital assets, officially designating major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Hedera, and 12 other as digital commodities rather than securities. So the new token taxonomy separates crypto into categories such as digital commodities, digital utility tokens, digital collectibles like NFTs, and digital securities falling under the SEC oversight, while most crypto assets now come under the CFTC's authority. This long-awaited clarity removes a major legal overhang for exchanges, developers, and institutional investors, establishes a clear regulatory split between agencies, and signals a major shift in U.S. policy. Again, we mentioned this on Thursday, but I had to reiterate this because this is big news, all right? This is big news. This is something that this industry has been waiting for, to see which cryptocurrencies are commodities, which ones are securities. So I will tell you which ones are not securities, all right? So let's go through the 12 right quick, all right? So the 12 that we have are... Give me 1 second. I'm going to give you those 12. All right, probably. Boom. Okay. The 17 cryptocurrencies that are classified as digital commodities and not securities goes like this. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Hedera, Cardano, Avalanche, Polkadot, Chainlink, Stellar, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dogecoin, and Shiba Inu. We got two meme coins on here. Sui, Cosmos, and Algorand. So some of these are ISO 222 compliant. That is what the Swift messaging banking system uses to communicate. So I gotta ask my co-hosts and my listeners, what's your thoughts on these 17 cryptocurrencies and the fact that they mention two meme coins as digital commodities and not securities? Cheese, what's your thoughts on this, brother?
I think it's a great thing. Finally getting some clarity in this space. It just seems kind of quiet though, right? This always felt like this was going to be the moment where everybody was going to go crazy because we got clarity. But looking around the world around us, and it's like the sentiment is still low. We got a war going on, so it's always interesting to recognize like how deep within the space we are, right? Because there's a lot of people that were buying some of these meme coins, right, as we call them, in the 2021, 2022 phase, and they aren't going to touch it. They aren't touching it.
That's right.
They've abandoned this space, right? And now there's clarity coming around this space, and NFTs were also talked about in that art, and they were classified as this digital collectibles, like
That's right.
no harm,
That's right.
right? So now when these things start picking up again and people start building with these tools, there's going to be a lot of eyes start to bring back. So I think it's great. For the builders primarily, I think it's also great because now we have clarity to what we can build, what we have. We can remove some of that confusion. But I'm also going to be waiting for when it actually gets through the Senate, though. But I think we're still waiting for the actual final ratification of this bill.
That's right.
But at least now we have we have words from the SEC, like we have a stance on their side of the table.
That's right. That's right, man. So, Cheese, I appreciate your thoughts on that. And we got Blue. She's back, y'all. She is back. Blue, how you doing? How you feeling? Got you up on stage. I gotta give you a shout out because you made it up. You made it up. So I got you as a speaker. The floor is yours, Blue. And we got one more speaker. We got Dre from Urban Blockchain pulling up. So whoever wants to go first, Blue or Dre, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Well, I'm going to say ladies first, so Blue, take it away.
Blue, you are still muted. You are muted, Blue. I don't know. She's having technical difficulties. So, Dre, go ahead and share your thoughts. What's going on? And I appreciate you tapping in today. So once you finish up, we're going to have Blue hop up on stage right behind you, brother. How you doing?
No doubt, no doubt. I'm good. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dre from Urban Blockchain. I'm going to second what Joe Just Cheeze said about us having a stance and some clarity. I think this is dope because it hits like different sectors of crypto. We got like the OGs, like the Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. You got your ISO for payments. Then you got the layer zero or interoperability with Polkadot. And then you got the meme coins, which I see are like community coins or like the people coins. So I think it's good that they have these different categories that are, getting passed to the Senate and then hopefully getting passed with the Senate.
Oh no, we got rugged. How the fuck we get rugged?
Oh, the whole thing.
Nah, we gotta reconnect. We reconnected to the spaces, y'all.
When the hype isn't around, because we don't want the fluff and like the fake frothiness of people just being in the space just because of the hype. You know what I mean? So I'm glad it's happening now when the masses aren't really here per se. But that's my thoughts.
Dre, I appreciate that. I appreciate your thoughts on that. And yeah, I definitely agree with both of you fellas' sentiment, man. I know Cheese made a good point. He was saying that, obviously we're in the middle of a war, you know, and at the same time for builders, they know what change they can build on now, and they can be comfortable about building on this space. You know what I mean? So this is very important, man. Blue, we got your back. How you doing? The floor is yours.
Test 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
How you doing?
Oh,
Got you
I'm
up
doing
here.
good. I appreciate you, Elon. I've been trying to, talk to the family, so I appreciate you for allowing me to, speak.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, first of all, how you doing? How was your weekend? And give us your thoughts on the SEC and the CFTC finally labeling 17 cryptocurrencies digital commodities.
I think the guys have really covered it pretty well. I would say that it's about to get real interesting in these streets. In these crypto streets. I'm interested to just see how this continues to unfold with this framework of digital assets and what's going to be commodities and what's going to be, okay. And I think it might change a couple more times, to be honest, even before the summer ends. I think that's my take. And my weekend, it was cool. Really busy because in the middle of moving, I have to move in less than 28 days or something like that. So it's real crazy right now. And I'm really excited about the weekend because I was able to go over the last flow of the new Blue Water site. So I'm really, really excited about that. So yeah, that's my 2 pieces of cheese.
Hey, I hope everything goes well with your move, and I hope the new place, brings you a lot of good energy, and abundance. And I appreciate your thoughts on the commentary. She pretty much agreed with what the fellas said. Everybody's sentiment here. So, yeah. Thank you for that, Blue, and I'm glad you're up on the stage, man. Up on the stage.
Me too. And you guys look really good. Your setup, the payoff, TCK,
Hey.
y'all look really, really good. The penguin, I see you, Joe. I see
you. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. I appreciate giving us an update on the visuals. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what this is about. We trying to make this shit look good. We trying to make it look fly. And, with the ladies, they make it sexy. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm going to tell you like this. You never know what the next background is going to be because this place is big and they got a lot of dope setups. So, you know what I'm saying? We got some surprises in the future. We ain't going to let too many cats out the bag. But, yeah, this pivot is going to be something to watch. The evolution of TCK and ABC, we lit. So, oh yeah, shout out to D-Web. Just Cheese got on the D-Web hoodie. He dropped a new project. We was playing it earlier. You know what I'm saying? So, what's the name of D-Web's project?
Introspective.
Introspective. Let's go. Shout out to D-Web with the new Web3 project, man. You know what I'm saying? He out there doing his trading.
Web.
It's
the Introspective Web.
Introspective Web. I like that. I like that title. That was super dope. Super dope. Shout out to our guy D-Web. You heard?
Yeah, there's a couple tracks on there that I fuck with for real. Let me just go down the track list real quick. Recalibration, Transgressions, fuck with those two. Initiated, Redemption, Smile is cool. Top of the Top.
Top of the Top. Okay.
Yeah. But my favorite so far might be which one is it? This is one got that lot beat. I think it's probably Can't Die.
Can't Die. Yeah, D-Web, man. We see you out there, man. You say you ain't no rapper, but you putting out a lot of work. You putting out a lot of material, man. So you officially the Web3 artist that we have as far as hip hop. We got Putu. That's another individual. He do Afro beats. You know, a lot of dope Afro beats with the Web3 talk. Who else we got? Oh, we got Chris's
Jay
sister.
Rich.
Jay Rich. Can't forget Jay Rich. Shout out to Jay Rich. We had a dope interview a couple of months ago at his facility, man. And those numbers went up too. So big shout out to Jay Rich, man. Big shout out to Jay Rich. So yeah, man, we got some dope Web3 artists. And Chris's sister, she's actually an artist on what? Audius,
Gala.
I believe. Oh, Gala. That's right. She's an artist on Gala. And shout out to our guy Slice and Wine, because they are artists on bass and they are artists on Audius as well too. So yeah, man. Web3 wavy, you know how we do, man. That's what we do around here, man. We kick them Web3 bars, we give you Web3 information, and we do it in a fly way. Alright? So this next story goes along with, it's very similar to the very first article we talked about, because this has to do with the CFTC. Alright? So the CFTC issues a FAQ detailing how crypto firms can use digital assets as derivatives collateral. Alright? So staff at the CFTC has issued a new guidance allowing crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and certain stable coins and tokenized assets to be used as collateral in regulated derivatives markets, marking a major step in integrating blockchain into traditional finance. Under the framework, firms can use digital assets for margins in futures and swaps, but must meet strict requirements around volatility risk, liquidity, custody, and real-time monitoring, including applying haircuts to account for price swings. All right. So the move enables faster, near real-time settlement and 24/7 market activity, something traditional systems struggle to achieve, while reinforcing a technology-neutral approach to regulation. I really like this. All right. So our regulators, they really have to be tech-neutral. All right. It's like, the thing I don't like about what they're doing with blockchain is that they're kind of politicizing it, which I really don't like, because it just seems like more Republicans are pro-crypto. All right. Being anti-blockchain is like being anti-internet. All right. This should be a bipartisan thing. We should be getting support on both sides of the aisle. But just to know, for my traders out there, if you trade futures, now digital assets can be used as derivatives collateral. All right, so shout out to my traders. Again, shout out to D-Web. He is our resident trader here. And I don't trade futures. All right, Hyperliquid, shout out to Hyperliquid. They have a perpetual futures market with oil that has been crushing it. They've really been crushing it with Hyperliquid right now. So tokenized real world assets are taking off. But I gotta ask my co-host, what's your thoughts on the CFTC actually having an FAQ, letting people know how digital assets can be used as collateral for derivatives? Who wants to go first? Cheese, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So, I mean, I think this is tightly related to the last conversation that we just had about the regulation of the digital assets, but let's go all the way back to like the creation of money, right, and bartering, and the evolution from that came a banking system that quote unquote convinced people about the illicities of bartering, right, and the needing to put your money in a space where that you can also, you can have it be protected, right? And then from there we have fractional reserve lending, blah blah blah, and we introduce so many frictions with just getting money from one place to another.
That's right.
Right? Even like send your parents money, you have to talk to the bank, and the bank has to give you permission to unless you use depend on the amount that you want to send, right? But at a certain amount, you have to get permission from the bank to spend your own money, and then you also have to be considerate about like bank runs and if everybody was to go try and get the money out of the bank at the same time, right? So there's an underlying problem with money, right? And I say that just to highlight why digital assets are important, regardless of it's being Bitcoin, Dogecoin, or or 47 coin or XRP or or dog with hat, whatever the case is. We all can agree that it's been faster to send money.
That's right.
Right? I mean, the exception is when you lose money due to transaction fees, like my man whose $50 million got turned to
like 30 bands or some wild shit.
Yeah, right. But that's a liquidity issue, right? So the technology is there, so it's bound for us to be at a point now where banks and everybody's waking up to see like, oh, okay, we can actually leverage this as a secure medium for sending money, and that's what it is. That's what it ought to be seen as. Blockchain is that secure, transparent medium for exchanging value, right?
Good point.
And that value is different in different markets, but I think all markets will start to leverage blockchain because of those core components that it stands for.
Great point, Cheese. You smoked that, man. I appreciate your thoughts on that. Blue, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I think when the Trading Commission begins basically outlining how to use digital assets as collateral, it signals that technology has to be taken serious. Technology is being taken serious by everyone outside of the U.S. And so we have to wake up and acknowledge that. There has to be like clear, concise guidelines from not just the commission, but also the SEC. And also it's more like the U.S. is waking up and they're realizing, hey, people are buying property with these digital assets. And so like Wells Fargo and JP Morgan now saying that they'll accept Bitcoin as collateral. I think it's a huge step, but it's a step to what is going to happen because we are all going to switch over, to this blockchain system. Now, will it be like the freedom and all of that? Probably not. It'll probably be a very centralized system that everybody is being operated under, and just it'll be like how people understand that there is something called a dark web, and then there's like the web that we all use, and it'll just be like that. It'll be everybody will be like centralized and stable coined out, and then there will be some of us who know how to self custody and like actually hold our own crypto.
Great points, Blue. You highlighted a lot of great things there. So that is one of the things that I want to spin the block on a little bit. I know Cheese, he made a great point talking about having, crypto being able to solve a lot of problems with money. And to Blue's point, you have these institutions getting into this space, whether it's JP Morgan or Wells Fargo, you know, accepting crypto as collateral or even launching their own stable coins, you know, because JP Morgan, they got their coin. Wells Fargo is working on their coin. So both my co-hosts highlighted great points in the use case and to solve the money problems, you know. So I appreciate both my co-hosts' thoughts on that. And I gotta ask Dre, do you got any thoughts on this, Dre? You wanna share your thoughts on this?
I mean, honestly, Blue and Just Cheese killed it. But what I'll add to that is the fact that, like, you know, just telling people about crypto, whether it's like family, friends, and whatnot, they're just like, what value does crypto have? This kind of helps with that argument. Like, if they're using it for collateral, if banks are using it, there goes the value right there. You know what I mean? So I think it will help with that argument. But I'm going to just double down on everything they said as well.
Nah, that's a great point. It'll make the regular people, the noobs in this space, more comfortable about investing in this space and actually understanding the value, you know. So I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. Yes, sir. Shout out to Pudgy Penguin too, man. You know, we got the Pudgy Penguins down here. We got the inflatable holding it down for us. You know what I'm saying? So, and we got the vinyl back here. We got the vinyl toy up on the table too. So we got our digital assets on display, you know what I'm saying? The physical version of them, because we represent the Web3 community, so we gotta stay Web3 wavy out here, whether it's merchandise, you know what I'm saying, or fly gear, like this ABC DJ shirt that I created last year for the Atlanta Tech Week. You know, these are still Web3 wavy, you know what I mean? So yeah, y'all, I really like this. I'm glad that United States is getting their act together when it comes to crypto regulation. I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. So now from crypto, we got to talk about AI. I know Just Cheese been vibe coding using AI to create some dope websites. I know NFT, shout out to NFT. She was able to use AI to help launch her DocuHero platform. So there's several people here at ABC using AI. Marlon is using AI. Chris and Van, they're using AI. So blockchain and AI, they go hand in hand, man. So let's talk about it. With that being said, crypto companies are increasingly cutting jobs as they shift toward AI-first operations, with firms like Crypto.com, Gemini, Masari, Optimism Labs, and Algorand Foundation all reducing headcount in 2026, while citing artificial intelligence as a key driver. All right. So executives say AI enables smaller, more efficient teams by automating roles in areas like customer support, research, and operations, positioning companies for greater scale and competitiveness. All right. So, however, some analysts question whether AI is truly replacing jobs at scale or simply being used to justify broader cost cutting and restructuring tied to market volatility and economic pressures. So the trend signals a major shift in the crypto industry towards leaner, automation-driven business models, while also sparking the debate about AI's real impact on employment in the future of work. All right, so I'm gonna share my thoughts right quick before I give it on to my co-host and my listeners. I'm a graphic designer. I feel like AI hit my industry probably faster than any other industry, because you had text to image. As soon as you can text to image, you can use AI to create any kind of visual art. Logos, websites, anything. Thumbnails for YouTube videos. Sky's the limit. Limit is your imagination. So me being a graphic designer, I had to use these tools. So as soon as these tools came out, started creating, cooking up with it. So I see the advantages of it. So I'm not one of those people that's going to be scared of the technology I'm going to use it, right? But at the same time, I do recognize that there's going to be a lot of jobs that are going to be affected. And it goes to show you companies like Home Depot, they're offering certification on regular jobs that sooner is going to be paying a lot. HVAC, plumbing, electrician. These are some of the certifications kids can get straight out of high school. These are AI-proof jobs. It's going to take a while before robots can replace those kind of jobs. So I say all that to say this. there are people who got degrees. They went to Ivy League schools, and AI will be replacing them. Use these tools so you can essentially be like a prompt engineer, or use AI to help protect your job. Maybe you can fast track some responsibilities that you have at your job using AI. You know, you got Claude, and people got the open Claude bots doing, agents doing things for them now. So please, y'all, definitely look into using AI as a tool. And I also think, this is the second thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna leave it on this. I think a lot of these companies are gonna hire back a lot of humans because they're gonna need human oversight for a lot of this AI creations that they're gonna be cooking up. You're still gonna need human oversight. So that's my 2 cents. And I think there's gonna be a demand for humans again, because AI can get out of control and it does make mistakes. That's just my thoughts on this. Got to share the floor with my co-host. Who wants to share their thoughts first? You want to go first, Blue or Cheese, or Dre? You want to jump on here?
I'll go ahead.
The floor is yours, Blue.
I mean, you kind of said right at the end of what I was saying, what I'm going to say, but I mean, it's the shift towards AI isn't one directional. Like you said, there is going to be a cycle where companies are cutting the roles, but those same roles, they're going to have to hire back to fix and manage the gaps that AI has created behind the scenes. And AI will keep improving on what we feed it, but it still needs like human oversight. It needs to be guided, corrected, and refined on how it operates. And it also, for like the general public, so there's other AI that the public doesn't have access to, but for the general public, there is a look that AI produces and generates. There's things like, even when I went to ETH Denver, I saw things that I saw other people show me, and I thought that was like their original UX, but it's just a Claude UX. So it's like people like, the way I see like people like myself and T.Gold, there are people that will call me and say, hey, I need you to design something for me because I don't want it to look like AI created it.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think that there's enough mistakes where there was an agent that they gave away like $6 million for the company. I mean, there's all different kind of things that AI still hasn't figured out, or I would say the developers haven't instructed correctly. There's too much gaps and walls of information that it doesn't have to give like that correct output. But there is a lot of output that's being put out. And it's going to be very interesting to kind of like single out what's original and what's like, all of the rest of the stuff is just going to turn into like copy pasta, and everybody's going to kind of look the same. And so I think it's going to be those people who figure out how to stand out and not look like AI, but also like how to fix, like these people need to figure out how to fix the issues behind the scenes. Like it can look pretty, but behind the scenes, that thing is full of worms. And so it's just like, then they have to spend hours and hours to figure out how to unvibe code what they vibe coded in the first place. So that's my take.
Nah, Blue, I like that take. You brought up a lot of great concerns. Now, Cheese, what's your thoughts on this? Because I know you're a big fan of AI. And I know you use it in your work too.
So I'm going to talk about it from like enterprise, what's happening there, and then like from my like perspective on what people can do. But like from an enterprise level, I understand what these companies are doing because they have benchmarks to hit, right? A lot of the spend on AI to date has promised this much more productivity and this amount of savings at at an enterprise level, and a lot of these companies went all in on the Nvidia, right, and the promises of how AI was gonna help officiate things, and it is, right, but there's a certain amount of like human engineering that you cannot repeat, and
right.
I think there was an overshot in the percentage savings that now people are looking to basically just we're gonna hit these targets by any means necessary. So, and that creates like a chasm, and sometimes that chasm is like, it's like, okay, when the pandemic happened, right, Home Depot was one of the first places that reacted well, right, because they introduced the self checkout, and since then it's been like, if you look at Home Depot's numbers, they were actually one of the companies that actually recovered pretty well, right?
Good point.
But they had to get lean in order to to do something that revolutionized what they were doing. That even like trickulated into some of the restaurants experiences that we have today, where it's like we don't get COVID impacted that space too, where it's like a lot of restaurants now, you just go, you pick up your food off the to-go, and you leave.
That's right.
Right. And in fact, that was something that was started by one of the first CEOs that put that into play was current CEO of Red Lobster, who was at that point in time, he was at P.F. Chang's. He introduced he introduced the to-go option at P.F. Chang's, that actually helped P.F. Chang's too. So I'm saying that to say, like, there's these innovation moments to where cutting, and even like in the past, and so it's not new, right? Where corporate cuts in order to save, right? Or technology forces us to like go get new jobs in different spaces, right? So that's not to be a surprise. But then the other side of the coin is, well, how do we, handle these moments? So I think the blockchain companies are something to actually look at as good lessons, because they're emerging companies. They can't be too cost heavy with hiring a bunch of employees as their space is in limbo, right? So if I can enable some AI agents to do what 4 other employees were going to do, then I can save some costs and de-risk my company that's already in a risky space.
That's right.
Right? So I think for us, there was a publication that came out from Claude 3 weeks ago or so, and it basically highlighted like all of the areas that were at risk for for automation. And if you flip that and you say, what I tell people is, don't look at that article as at risk. Look at that article as an opportunity.
Good point. Perspective.
Here's where I can automate X amount of roles. Wherever that article says that there is a gap, that is a opportunity for you to, if you're building something, right, don't like, instead of that role can be augmented with AI agents.
That's right.
And then on top of that, if you yourself are looking to build or stay employed, you can utilize that same document to say, hey, I do this, right? This is my job. All right, and I actually did this as an experiment to show people how to use Claude to basically build skills.
Got you.
Right? This is my job. I do this, and this for my job. What part of my job can be enhanced with skills? That way I can, I can be more powerful. I can power up.
That's right.
Right?
Good point.
So I would just say take this moment to, look at what's going on and don't blindside it because of the the concerns of people losing their jobs. That's There's an opportunity here for you guys to, whether or not that happens, to utilize and learn from the technology.
Nah, great point, Cheese. Great. You made a lot of great points. Both you and Blue made a lot of great points. But yes, definitely use this as an opportunity because it's a matter of perspective, like Cheese said. You know, ask AI what it can do to help you with your job. You know, you never know. You might get a raise. Speaking of raise, we got two people raising their hands. We got Blue and our guy Dre. Blue, what's your thoughts? And then we're gonna let Dre share his thoughts.
For sure. Like while we were talking, I'm like, wait a second. There's a deeper layer to this. Like the companies building these AI systems aren't just creating tools. They're shaping the data that these tools rely on. Because if you look at the giants that provide the information to like the Lovable and this and that, it's all like there's two entities that's like actually like providing all that information. And when we focus on the bottom line, the systems are trained to like prioritize efficiency, engagement, or revenue that can influence like what information gets surfaced and how it's framed and what gets refocused over time. And so the issue isn't just how AI performs, it's what's being fed and why. And then if the inputs are driven by business incentives and the outputs will reflect that, it's basically like those two entities focused on what businesses suffer from, which is like the bottom line, how can I cut costs? But then I also have this other side to it where I need to feed the AI to be able to produce all these things. So I'll put out all these different free systems. A great example is on IG, not everybody, but a lot of people copy their faces into that app freely. And that was to feed that system. And so I'm also just highlighting the fact that all of this is just like also focused on the mental health of a business owner and saying, hey, this AI will cut this, and this. You may have 1,000 issues, but you may be able to solve like 300 issues. But we need that data, your personal IP that you're building, that you're giving to our centralized, system. So I think that is something to also kind of highlight and understand that that's also happening too.
Blue, that is a great point. That is a great point. AI needs data, and I'm gonna let Dre share his thoughts, and I'm gonna say one thing. You made me think of something. Dre, floor is yours, brother.
All right, so I'm gonna speak from the perspective of someone that works at a Fortune 100 company. So outside of Web3, I work for a telecom company. Last year, we got a new CEO. As soon as he came through the door, his first thing was, we got to be lean, we got to cut costs, be more productive, and he kept speaking about AI. At the end of last year, we had some, layoffs, job cuts, and whatnot. Now this year, they're pushing the AI talk, and literally on Friday, we had an all-hands call, and they're talking about leveraging AI. And it's funny, this week coming up, we have an AI Unlock week kickoff event. So every day of the week, we have like a 45-minute session where they're going to be teaching us AI tools and, leveraging AI and how we could use it to be more productive. And on that call, someone mentioned, he said, don't be afraid of AI stealing your job. Be afraid of your peer or someone else in the market space looking for a job that has these credentials with AI that will take your job. So I think that was profound, and it speaks to everything you guys were saying. Like, leverage AI, learn the tools, learn how to use these tools, because it's not so much the robots or the iRobot moment that's gonna happen. It's gonna be that person that's nimble enough to know how to use these tools, know how to use skills and all that to take your lunch, pretty much. So I just wanted to add that 2 cents.
Nah, Dre, that's a great point. That's a great point. So all my co-hosts today had great points, especially at this topic because everybody had different perspectives. You had a real world example of how your job is teaching you how to use AI, and that was referring to what Cheese was saying. The perspective on using AI instead of being fearful of it. And then it goes to what Blue was saying. These companies, they still gonna need, humans to input this data to AI. So yeah, it might have to mimic your tasks. You know what I'm saying? So I love the fact that everybody brought different perspectives.
DoorDash.
Go ahead, Cheese.
DoorDash just launched a new app called Task, where you can get paid to do household chores.
That's
if
crazy.
you film yourself.
Yo, that's crazy. So I'm surprised a cleaning service didn't jump on that first. And DoorDash, a food, delivery service, they now have a cleaning service. They incentivizing people to offer cleaning services.
Not offer cleaning services, to record video of yourself doing tasks.
Got you. Okay, so it's sort of like Rent a Human, what AI is doing.
Yeah.
Got you. All right, and one thing Blue said that made me think about something. Y'all know when everybody was going crazy over Pokemon Go and they was finding all the Pokemon balls and all this other stuff in different locations? Well, all of that data was to feed AI and robots. It was getting just data, mapping the real world, right? All of that information is going to be fed to AI and robots, so robots can maneuver through different locations, whether it's delivery food or delivery of humans or just goods. You know what I'm saying? So all of this, that stuff was for free that we was doing, but we were the product. If you was out playing Pokemon Go, you were the product, man. So yeah, man, we just got to be careful on where we giving our data to, But I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. Y'all smoked that. Y'all cooked that. I appreciate that. So we got a couple of more stories we're going to run through. And I like this one. My last name is Gold. We're going to talk about gold. All right? There's a new company that I heard of. It may not be new, but it's new to me. It's called the World Gold Council. They're launching a new gold as a service framework aimed at standardizing tokenized gold on blockchain. All right? So they are potentially challenging dominant players like T.Gold and Gold. The proposed system would create shared infrastructure for custody, continuous auditing, which we need, and interoperability between different gold tokens, addressing current fragmentation where issuers operate closed systems with separate vaults and processes. Okay, that makes sense. By applying the same model that helped scale gold ETFs into a $100 billion plus market, the World Gold Council aims to bring greater transparency, lower cost, and broader participation to the roughly $5 billion tokenized gold sector. Yo, this is crazy. I do like the fact that this creates interoperability between different gold tokens. And I guess there's different, financial tools that people have. And now having tokenized gold, man, it's going to allow for faster settlement times. It's going to allow for fractionalized gold, and you'll have more liquidity. I can definitely see this being a problem for companies like Paxos and Tether, because Tether, I don't know what they rank. Cheese, can you do me a favor? Can you see what does Tether rank in? Because they have a lot of U.S. treasuries, but I believe they have a lot of gold as well too. So let's see where their ranking is as far as companies that hold gold. All right, I think they are like in the top 20. But I thought this story was interesting. So I'm going to ask Blue, and while Cheese is looking that up, what's your thoughts on this, Blue? And Dre, if you got any thoughts, you can share your thoughts on this too as well. Who wants to go first?
Let me let Dre go first this time.
Honestly, I didn't have much, but really quick, I'll just add that I think this is dope for crypto exchanges because, as we know, we could only buy digital assets, but now it would allow us to buy the OG commodities, I guess you would say, because now Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, all that stuff is about to be considered commodities. But now we could, take part in the OG commodities like gold and whatnot. So I think that's pretty dope.
Great point. Great point. And I definitely see, maybe some old gold bugs, getting into tokenized gold. They'll be able to see the advantages of having, tokenized gold opposed to lugging around heavy gold bars.
And maybe Peter Schiff will actually conform and, be a blockchain.
Great point. Great point. Cheese, what information did you come up with Tether?
They're amongst the top 30. It's 30 companies with holding over $23 billion in gold.
Wow. Man, yeah, I knew Tether they was holding, man. They one of the top 30 holders of gold in the world. Blue. Cheese, I appreciate your thoughts on that. I'm going to let Blue share her thoughts and then share yours after her. Floor is yours, Blue.
For sure. I mean, tokenized gold is moving from a passive asset to usable, financial collateral. These boys are getting ready. We open the door and let everybody in. And that shift changes where the value sits. So, you were talking about Tether, Gold, and Pax, they're limited by their fragmented systems, but standardization and interoperability to make gold more trusted, liquid, and usable across platforms. I mean, look at what Marlon's doing. The advantage won't be just in the token. So I need people to understand that too. Think of how they're tokenizing these assets, almost like how they're doing stable coins. So the advantage is in the infrastructure, the custody, who's custodying this gold. So if I'm paying Wells Fargo every month to hold the gold and Brinks or whatever, they have the gold and I'm paying for, them holding my gold and tokenizing it. So the standards, that'll enable the scale of everything, and then the settlement creates the real utility, like ETFs, and the asset doesn't change, and access doesn't either. So I think that's where the value kind of consolidates. And I just see all the steps, I see all the steps being taken to turn every single thing that the U.S. and what the world has tokenized. So everything can be tracked and the old system can be kind of done away with along with the debt. But I don't want to go down, too much of a rabbit hole. But I do think that it's about how they're tokenizing it. I think this is really dope. I met some folk that were tokenizing lithium. So, I mean, it is going to be the people who are actually tokenizing the assets and holding the assets. But also, I think there's huge value in having a digital identifier that says that I own 3 bricks of gold, something like that. So I think that's pretty dope. It's just now figuring out when I want it, how do I get it?
Great point, Blue. I like the points that you made. Cheese, you want to share your thoughts, and then Dre, you got your hand up. We're gonna have you speak after Cheese.
Yeah, I mean, I think Blue hit it on the head. I think only one more thing I want to add is aside her point around the cost of custody, right? That goes like back to my point where I was highlighting about like the introduction of banks providing a safe way for you to custody your money, right? And we're evolving from that, right? To her point as well. But I also think the other thing about it is co-ownership, right? When you can come together around fractionalized commodities, and like we can co-own a gold mine,
That's right.
right? So stuff like that, yeah.
Speaking of gold mine, shout out to Gia. Gia is doing her thing out there in Africa, in Zambia, to be exact. She doing her thing. So shout out to Gia, man. What she's doing is phenomenal. I just can't wait till she get more support in what she's doing, because she's taking on a very large task as far as just mining precious materials in Zambia. You know what I'm saying? In particular, gold. So shout out to Gia. Keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? Drake, what's your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, Blue touched on something and it made me think about something. If we think about like the origin of money and it being a promissory note or a representation of gold, and the fact that, we had the Bretton Woods Agreement, we got taken off the gold standard, and she mentioned it being like a digital representation of the gold that they have. This could be like the new birth of that so-called promissory note that represents actual gold in Fort Knox, which we know doesn't have anything. You know what I mean? So I think that was dope that she touched on that.
Nah, that's a great thing that you highlighted right there. I like the point that you highlighted right there. So that's another thing. Hey, we don't know how much gold is in Fort Knox. It could be empty for all we know. So by countries and companies tokenizing their gold reserves, we can see who really has what. But nah, y'all all made great points. I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. And yeah, my last name is Gold, man. Senor Auto, man. That's Mr. Gold in Spanish to y'all, man. Senor Auto, man. But nah, man. I just gotta tell y'all like this. I love when we share different thoughts, different perspectives, and I hope our listeners and our viewers are getting a lot of value out of what we do and what we bring to the table. So I appreciate everybody's thoughts and commentary. All right. So we got a couple more stories we're gonna finish up with, and for some reason, I don't know why I hesitated. I should have bought my Doodles Fruit Loops box, because we have a Doodles story that we're gonna share today. All right, so shout out to Doodles, man. Y'all been cooking like a motherfucker. Doodles AI. Have you used it? If you haven't, I have. And man, they putting jewelry when I even have jewelry. They made like Marlin with like blonde dreads. You know what I mean? They even gave me blonde dreads. It was funny. RC, he got the low Caesar. They gave him a damn cul-de-sac George Jefferson. Yeah, I was like, yo, it was crazy. But they swagged him out with the bag, the jewelry, and the scarf, though. You know what I mean? And then Cash, she was in that photo as well, so they made her afro look dope, but they gave her like 2 shades of melanin, you know what I mean, darker, you know what I mean? So it's super dope, I can't lie. If you haven't experimented with the Doodles app, the Doodles, they have created something phenomenal. And if you haven't designed with it, man, I'm gonna tell you, take one of your favorite photos and run it through the Doodles AI app and see what you cook up with. Actually, one of the favorite ones that I did, shout out to the bar chef, you know what I mean? Shout out to Marlon Williams, founder of ABC. He had on, the Revolution will be tokenized blockchain boy shirt, and I made that into a Doodles AI, and that shit was dope, man. That shit was super dope. So I love what Doodles is doing. So with that being said, and I ain't gonna blow up the spot, but we got a special guest in the house. You know what I'm saying? We got a special guest in the house. But I'm gonna tell you like this. There's something that I have to share with you guys, because I am a fan of Candy Digital, and I have some of their NFTs, and what the chairman of Doodles is doing is phenomenal. All right, so check this out. So former Sotheby's CEO, Tad, yes, T-A-D, Tad Smith, now chairman of Doodles, is reportedly set to acquire Candy Digital in a move that could revive one of the most recognizable NFT platforms from the boom era, okay? Once backed by major players like Fanatics and Galaxy Digital and Gary Vee, Candy built partnerships with brands such as the Major League Baseball, DC Comics, and Netflix, but struggled as the NFT market cooled. So Smith's potential acquisition signals a strategic pivot towards rebuilding the platform around real-world utility, fan engagement, and media integration rather than speculation, potentially combining Doodle's brand with Candy's premium IP partnerships. That was the thing that I thought that was phenomenal. If they were able to take some of the IP brands that Candy has and rolling that over into Doodles, imagine Doodles in the Major League Baseball, what they can come up with. You know, all kind of merchandise, jerseys. That'd be crazy. A Doodles baseball jersey, that'd be crazy. Also, DC Comics. Imagine DC Comics partnering with Doodles and Batman Doodle and, you know, the Joker Doodle. Those would be crazy. Also, think about all of the brands that is partnered with Netflix and the Doodles having a series on Netflix. Like, there's so many implications to this. I thought this was dope, and I think it was a phenomenal chess move by Tad Smith. So shout out to Tad Smith. So I gotta ask my co-hosts, have you guys tried out the Doodles AI app generator? Pretty phenomenal. Do you got any Doodles NFTs? And what do you think about Doodles acquiring this NFT marketplace, Candy Digital? Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
You want to go first, Cheese? The floor is yours.
So it's good to see that Tad, right, still former CEO of Sotheby's, but he's now the chairman of the platform. So he himself, right, is still locked into the space, right? So you got to think about it from that perspective too, right? I mean, that somebody who has believed Sotheby's has been here for a while.
That's right.
Right. So you're talking about the former CEO of Sotheby's. He's no longer the CEO there, but he's like, okay, I'm gonna be a chairman on, an NFT platform, and acquire it as well. So I think from that perspective, right, it's very foresight, and especially around the way they want to handle it, leaning more into fan engagement. This is something that, like you said, this platform, Candy Digital, is already doing some of that, right? Now you're going to take ownership of that, and then you're just mixing in new IP with Doodle's IP, right? So it's, if you think about what Disney is doing right now, I don't know if you guys recognize or know about what's happening with Disney and F1.
Disney and F1?
Yeah.
Nah, elaborate.
Okay, so this is also happening with Disney and NFL, right? But NFL 2 years ago, the first game of the season was turned into a Toy Story game.
Really?
Right? You could watch it online. You could watch the players were actually, like, they were able to have the cameras over the field and capture the live data and then translate that data into like Toy Story characters. So you could watch the game, so the kids could watch the game, but you can see Buzz Lightyear like catching a pass. So
that's innovative.
Yeah. And so F1 has signed a partnership with Disney to experiment with things like that as well.
Oh, okay.
Right? Bringing people, it's all about, capturing audiences, right? And you want people to engage. So, if you got younger kids now seeing Mickey Mouse driving the car, now they want to get into F1 from a younger age.
It's a good way to market.
Right? So it's a good marketing ploy. So fan engagement and having, these platforms under the wings of like a Doodles brand is not a bad idea, right? Because now you can expand into new markets with your IP, right? And then the AI thing, to answer that question, similar point, but I haven't tried it out yet. But it's a similar point, right? The point that I'm making is you have this IP. How can you allow people to, share in it? And if you come out with this AI generator tool, we can all be doodles.
That's right. Man, they trying to doodleify the world, man. Doodleify the whole world. Shout out to Pharrell too, man. He is the creative director of Doodles. So, man, Doodles been smoking shit, man. Last 2 years ago they had a partnership with McDonald's,
Yeah.
right? Then what did they do? They released their token, the Dude token, the following year. So Doodles, they've been smoking shit. Blue or Dre, who wants to go share your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great move, and it also helps out some of the things that the community has been kind of barking about. Like, this was the swing that kind of like knocked everybody, because if you look at the avatar, the meta worlds that are being built right now, versus Other Side, and Other Side is wholly different from Pudgy World. So you got the Penguins world, and then now Doodles. They were really smart about how they were going to start rolling out their metaverse, and how they would collect and get information, and get people to like really participate. And I think they did an amazing job with the rollout on who they got to post. Like, Alexis Ohanian.
Now, you want to tell the people who that is?
Okay, so it's easier to say it's Serena Williams' husband, but he's so much more than that. He started Reddit. He has a whole bunch of companies. He's a tech guy. But yeah, that's who he is. And he posted his doodle, and also tagged Burnt Toast. They got Nala Harris to do that. That is one of the young ladies to come out with, like, one of the youngest artists to come out with NFTs. They were called Long Necky Girls.
I remember that. Wow.
Yeah,
I remember that NFT
Cass actually
project.
worked with her and brought her in, and kind of like taught that family about NFTs, and got her into it. But she did that with her because she's releasing an animation, and they got her to do her animation and then put it in the Doodle AI converter, which was really, really cool. So I thought they had like key people, and they all posted it at the same time. So I thought it was very organized. And also, it's a different conversation, because the first thing is this is a game, right? Am I just walking around in a world that kind of looks like Fortnite? Because everybody kind of has like the mapping system of that. So I thought it was pretty genius. And I think that with the candy acquirement gives them a huge swing with the IP partnership, which Joe already touched on. So I think it puts them in position to do some really good things, and to like create like a character IP engine basically. So we'll see how it goes, but I think if they do it right, they do have a new team. They switched out their team a couple of times. So hopefully they'll stay on top of this team, and have it like roll out nicely, instead of like some of the other stuff that they were kind of struggling with. So I think they're doing a really good job to like turn the ship and kind of get ahead of everybody.
Blue, thank you for that information. I didn't know Cass helped that young lady out with her NFT project. I didn't know that they collaborated with Doodles. Now that's an idea. Doodles to collaborate with other NFT projects and like make a mashup of, let's say, like a CryptoPunk slash Doodle or like a Bored Ape slash Doodle. I can see that. Man, that's a great idea, Blue. Yeah, shout out to Cass too. Dre, you got any thoughts on this? Thank you for that again too, Blue.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on kind of what Blue said, but the character engine IP idea is really dope. And what I'm really waiting for with this is like, speaking to the other side, like a mashup kind of to what you said, kind of like Super Smash Brothers. So maybe like a video game or animated series or animated movie where those that own those NFTs can get royalties. That's what I'm waiting for. But I'll share something funny with y'all during that NFT mania, right? Doodles came out. I couldn't get my hands on a doodle, and then Koodles came out. So me thinking like, all right, this is the NFT hype. Let me grab a Koodle.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the Koodle. It didn't go anywhere, but I ended up keeping it just to have it as like history or a relic, just to think back of that time period. But it was pretty funny. So I don't know if you guys ever even heard of Koodles, but I got me a Koodle.
Yo, that is so funny. You got the off-brand doodles, man. Come on, man. Dre, man, don't get the off-brand doodles, man. You gotta get the official shit, man. Nah, I'm just fucking with you, bro. I'm just fucking with you, bro. Nah, that shit sound funny, man. But yo, you made me think about something. Doodles, they actually came out with a film. And Pharrell was the EP on it, the executive producer, and they had Lil Wayne doing the voiceovers. They had Coi Leray, they had Lil Yachty, and I believe one of the fellas from Ray Sherman. It was somebody else in there that was a part of that animation. But that's a great idea too, to Doodles to actually partner up with, another brand to potentially roll out another kind of, film, because there's ways that they can do like a Pixar kind of style, maybe Doodles. You know what I'm saying? That'll be kind of lit. That'll be kind of lit, man. Live action film instead of a 2D cartoon that they released. So yeah, y'all. And if you want to see that, I think they have it on YouTube. I think Doodles have their film on YouTube now.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. So if you guys haven't seen that, y'all can check that out. So I like the fact that they got the culture involved, and it was pretty dope. It's pretty dope. But I appreciate everybody's thoughts on that. All right. So we got one final story, and we call this, I like to call this the meme coin corner, where we talk about meme coins from time to time. I actually like this story because who would have thought in 2026, Afro Man will be at the top of, the news cycle. He had a hit in like 95, 94, because I got high. It was crazy. It was funny, but he actually had a hit with that. He was a true one-hit wonder. But I guess he still got a solid fan base. Because, if you guys didn't know, he was sued by the Ohio police, mainly because he made videos of their, what do you want to call it? It was a police raid. I don't want to call it a bogus police raid, but basically, I think somebody might have lied on him so they can just run up in his house. They didn't find anything, all right? So he made fun of all of the officers involved, made music, made videos, all right, the surveillance footage, everything. It was a genius way to market something that has been a violation to him. All right, so police violated his house, they broke his door, took money, ate his food, made a video out of it, right? So he won. But the crypto degens, what they decided to do 4 days ago, they launched a token. That's right, a FRO token. F-R-O. Now, the day that token released, it went up 4,600%, which is crazy, all right? So right now, that thing cooled off, because I'm going to tell you like this. I was looking at on Deck Screener. So it cooled off. It's sitting around 71K. That's the market cap. But in one day, you know how these meme coins go. They can go up to $1 million in a day. Well, this thing reached up to about 335K. All right. So think about that. If you would have caught it early, within like the first hour or so, maybe you could have got it under like a 20K market cap, and the thing ran up to, over 300K, which is crazy, man. So I think this is funny, but it goes to what we always talk about when we do talk about meme coins. Whenever there's a narrative, and if you can catch it early enough, somebody's gonna make a meme coin out of it. You saw the punch, that monkey. All right, there was a monkey.
Got a girlfriend now.
Yeah, I saw that. So Punch was abandoned by his mother, and I guess the zookeepers gave him a stuffed animal monkey that he befriended, and he was dragging that thing around. So people fell in love with it on the internet. Crypto DJs made a meme coin out of it. You know, we've seen this before with the hippopotamus over in, where was it, Southeast Asia? I forgot the country, but that hippo went crazy. You know what I'm saying? There was Peanut, the squirrel, that got euthanized, and his friend, who was like a raccoon or something like that. Marlon had mentioned that too. Fred, you know. So these are the narratives. If something goes crazy on TikTok, just like that penguin that went the opposite direction from his flock, that penguin went stupid as well too. Here's the thing: if you just pay attention to the news cycles, just anything on social media, guarantee you somebody gonna make a meme coin out of it. So if you catch it early enough, you can potentially win some money. This is not financial advice. This is only for educational and entertainment purposes. But we gotta let y'all know that there are still some tokens that go crazy even in this bear market, you know. But for people like me, most of my portfolio is solid projects. You know, the chain links, the avalanches, the immutable X's. A lot of that shit is in the tank. But it's still fun to watch what's going on in the meme coin space. I still only have Pengu. I got a little bit of Turbo left, but I've been cashed out of Turbo. I did my thing with that, but I only got Pengu left. I'm not really in this meme coin space like that, but it is fun to watch. And even sometimes I miss on some of these plays, you know, just because I'm not a true DJ. You know, shout out to our guy Brandon too, Endgame Associated. Shout out to the bar chef Marlon, man, because these guys, they know how to catch those meme coins and those plays like that. But who want to go first, man? Just Cheese. And if who else we got? Urban Blockchain, Blue. Who wants to go first? Who wants to speak on this?
I'll keep it short.
All right.
I'll keep it short and then cut it.
Go ahead, Blue.
I'll keep it really short. I mean, there's still hope alive that you can out-trade an AI bot because that army is crazy. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I kind of stepped out of the ring when all the AI bots came into the space and was like, we got this. And then the Wall Street boys came in there too. So, you know, it's great that some people can still keep hope alive and, you know, out-trade a bot.
Yo, that is so funny. Rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. He's the one who coined that phrase, keep hope alive. You know what I'm saying? So Obama ran on hope too. So I'm surprised ain't nobody launched a Jesse Jackson token. But, you know, I guess ain't enough black folks in the trenches like that. Cheese. Blue, I appreciate your thoughts on that. Cheese, what's your thoughts, brother?
I mean, on that note, I think, you know, with AI and tokens, I think we will see a future where like the automation of value creation around trends. Mm-hmm. Like if something is popping off, agents can catch on it and, you know, they can make money off of that moment. So like we could, you're starting to see some of it that with Polymarket, right? Technically speaking, the